Perfect.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel. This is season 3, week 3. And as always, I got a bunch of greats just talking about their matchups. So you know what? Let's not waste any time and bring everybody in. Of course, you know we're going to start with what some at the beginning of the season were calling the best division or the toughest division in the entire NFL, in the AFC West. After 3 weeks, yeah, I don't think so. But as always, you know, ladies first, I've got to bring our girl, Miss Carrie Johnson, in the building. Good evening, madam. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well. Carrie, listen, Kansas City doing Kansas City things. You've got the Indianapolis Colts. I was hoping this would be a better matchup, but I'm not going to sit here and say that it's going to be an easy W, but the way Indianapolis is playing, I just expect Mahomes to be Mahomes. But talk to me about your week 3 matchup.
Well, first of all, I want to say a shout out to the Eagles for hanging with the Chiefs and being in the 2-0 league. So shout out to your team as well. You know, to be quite honestly, we heard week 1 that beating the Cardinals, they weren't a good team, but they beat the Raiders. We heard that if we beat the Chargers, we would be acknowledged as a contender. It wasn't a pretty win, but it was a win. It's kind of our division is actually kind of shaping up to be like I expected. It's going to be 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom, and that's just the way I think it's going to turn out. Some interesting stats from last week. Our O-line combined, Andrew Wiley and Orlando Brown allowed only 3 pass rush pressures on the quarterback. 3. And if you'll remember, we played Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. That's pretty darn impressive. Once again, our team got acknowledged as a player of the week. This time it was defensive. Jalen Watson, who a year ago was working at Wendy's, now he was our 7th round rookie cornerback pick. 1 interception, 99-yard for a pick 6. He is the 3rd cornerback from the Chiefs that has, in the last decade, that has had the AFC Defensive Player of the Year. You may know one of them, kind of a common name, Marcus Peters. That was the pivotal turn in our last week's game. Going forward, we are going to be missing Willie Gay starting this game. I have a lot of things to think about that. Interesting timing, but it is what it is. This year, he's already had 16 combined tackles and 8 assists. That's 1/4 of the total combined he had last year, and 1/3 of the total assists from last year. I think he's really starting to show up and show out on that. So that's pretty impressive.
All righty. Listen, like I said, Kansas City doing Kansas City things. Miss Carrie Johnson, thank you so much. Make sure you check her out on 3 Chicks on the Pod. Great show along with Jen Lewis and Megan Price. Miss Johnson, we will speak to you next week. Much love to you. Thank you.
See you.
All right. Next up, I got to get this guy in here because he owes me some answers. I had a lot of love for his Las Vegas Raiders, but I got a lot of love for Phil Jones. But I want, ladies and gentlemen, I want the unfiltered truth about what's going on, sir, with your team. So the floor is yours. I need to know about your Las Vegas Raiders.
What can I say? Damn, I mean, you put me on 4K. That's why I've been saying week 1. I mean, my quarterback's not looking good. And then week 2, you hold a lead and then all of a sudden you look like hot mess in the fourth quarter. And that fourth quarter, look, I put some of it on McDaniels because you could have kept running the ball. And, you can't put too much on the defense. Everybody wants to jump and try to blame a defense because they're giving up the scores. But if your offense is not executing, so is that all on the defense to try to keep having to defend, and you're not doing what you need to do and drive downfield? I look at all 22, and I'm looking at guys that are wide open. So then I damn sure do look back at my quarterback. So at the end of this, it's scaring me that it's starting to look like the 2018 season. And God forbid, I usually pop up right most of the time, but, hopefully they can bounce back and get the win on Sunday against the Titans. And then again, it would still be looking like 2018. Something's got to change.
All right. Phil, listen, I told you, I got faith in you and I got faith in this team, but it's not showing up. At least in the month of September, it is not showing up, sir.
And the way this league works, it's not the time to be falling apart right now.
I agree. My man, Phil Jones, Unfiltered Truth, covering the Las Vegas Raiders. Phil, I'm going to holler at you, my brother.
All right, now.
All right. This next man that I'm bringing up here, I don't feel like his team has been given enough opportunity to show what they're capable of, because a lot of people are already jumping on Russell Wilson and Nathaniel Hackett. Let me get under review with my man, Mr. Jordan Long, in the building. Jordan, sir, your team is an enigma to me. It's a mystery because I thought for sure they would pop off. But talk to me about what's going on and, more importantly, your week 3 matchup, sir.
So as we all know, we did get the win against Houston. It was Houston. But the thing is what are we doing in the red zone? We're driving into the red zone, but not scoring touchdowns. We're 0 of 6 in the red zone. If you looked at one of the plays last week, Javonte Williams was wide open. Russell Wilson, I think, is doing too much. Nathaniel Hackett is getting too much direction from all of his coaches. That needs to stop. But going to this matchup, 16 points this week is not going to cut it. The 49ers put up 18.5 points per game so far this year. What do they do well? They run the football. They rush for 182.5 yards per game, ranking 4th in the NFL. We have to find a way to stop that. And the thing about Jimmy Garoppolo, he's under center. What does that mean? Well, he has a quick release because he learned from the greatest, Tom Brady, when he was in New England. They have George Kittle, great tight end. The Broncos not have done that great of a job stopping tight ends. Also, Garoppolo has to find Deebo Samuel, their best wide receiver. You have to cover him and make Garoppolo find someone else. As for our offense, run the football. We were doing great last week. 149 rushing yards, an average of 4.8 yards per carry. The thing also is we need to cut down the penalties. You can't give them an opportunity. Penalties will happen, but guess who leads the league? That's right, the Denver Broncos. 25 penalties for 209 yards. If you cut down the penalties, you have a chance to win this game.
Jordan, listen, I always got love for Russell Wilson. He's played against this defense previously, so I'm hoping that he has remembered how to pick apart that defense. But in the position you're currently in, one question before I let you go here tonight. How are you feeling about your team after 2 weeks? If you had to grade them, what would be the grade?
About a C. The reason why is we can't score in the red zone. The defense is, doing great. We had 16 points the last 2 weeks. It's the play calling that is bugging me and the time management.
Okay, fair enough. My man, under review with Jordan Long, as you see at Sports Scoop One. Make sure you check him out. Great articles, great vlogs that he's putting out. Jordan, I will talk to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
So we're going to transition over to the AFC. The NFC West. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's keep the show going. Let me bring in my man, Believe in the Pac-12 Zone, Mike Carousel, talking about his Arizona Cardinals. Mike, you had a good week, man, but talk to me about this week's matchup, brother.
Yeah, they had an insane second half against the Raiders, as we know. I mean, being down 23-7 and then coming back to win. Kyler Murray, man, just dropping some absolute dimes and lasers. So that was a hell of a comeback win. But yeah, the Rams, man, Eric, that brings up another challenge, another insane challenge for the Cardinals, a division opponent. Sean McVay, 9-1. That's all we've heard in Arizona since pretty much they celebrated Sunday and part of Monday. But since Monday night on, all we heard is Sean McVay's 9-1 against the Cardinals. The Rams, obviously a tough opponent. I mean, you look at last week. Well, the first week, obviously, against Buffalo, they got beat up on by the Bills. Last week, they charge out against the Falcons. Jalen Ramsey, Eric's fourth best friend, I should say, in the NFL. No, but all kidding aside, he comes up with that goal line interception. But, I mean, it's going to come down to defensive pressure. Can they do another phenomenal job? Because that's the one thing they did here in Arizona last year in the second game, because the first game in LA, the Cardinals won last year. But when the Rams came here, Aaron Donald, yes, got to Kyler Murray a few times, but they kept him in the pocket. They weren't flying upfield. And for people watching this game, if you're going to watch this game in the late window, which I think a lot of people obviously are, fantasy interest or not, but that's one thing where if they keep him in the pocket, yes, he can make the throws, because if he gets outside, if he's even, he's leaving. And we know that. So I think it's going to be a tight game. I do. I think the Rams offense still has a lot to prove, but I think the Cardinals offense built momentum last week, and J.J. Watt's back on the field too.
All right, we'll see what happens. I mean, listen, you're 1-1, impressive victory, but this is Believe in Pac-12 Zone. Mike Carousel, make sure you check him out on Pac-12 Football, part of the Sideline Sports Network family. Mike, much love, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
See you, buddy.
All right, let me get my man, Seattle Seahawk, Trey, back in the building. What's up, man?
There we go.
There you go.
There
I
we
got
go.
you, brother. So listen, you're 1-1 right now.
Yeah.
Along with a lot of other teams in the NFL. A lot of people anticipated you being 0-2 and not really having such a great season, but you shocked some people. But
Yeah.
talk to me now, because you are hosting the Atlanta Falcons. Talk to me about that matchup, sir.
So of course, no big issue. We didn't see a big jump from Geno. Geno was still accurate besides that interception. But something that we did see was we saw that Pete Carroll was trying to get a little too creative by trying to add DJ Dallas into the passing game, and that really didn't work out because he ended up throwing an interception. But we thought that we were going to come in playing Trey Lance. He gets knocked out week 1. Jimmy G comes in, plays us, and actually puts on a ball. So this is a good bounce back game for us, hosting the Atlanta Falcons. Team that has a lot of potential but isn't up there just yet. This is a chance for our defense to kind of take off the little bit of the access from what Seattle did last week, and just try and just start off new, start off fresh, and just say we can still come out of week 3 above 500, battling for the top spot in the NFC West, and still putting on a show. Because there's a lot of we're the underdogs in the NFC West, but guess what? We have a lot of upside. We have a lot of young talent that is still hungry and still fighting to win themselves another title. And of course, we got Pete Carroll, who is still trying to put those doubters aside, saying that, hey, they made the right move by keeping me and moving on from Russ.
All right. Listen, I did not anticipate this. I'm excited to see what happens with this team. I am just of the mindset that sometimes they say the grass ain't always greener, but for a guy who's had to run for his life, The fact that Russ is now in Denver and starting out basically with the same record as the team he left, that speaks a lot of things. So,
it does. It definitely does. I told people before, I said, don't sleep on Seattle now. Yes, we lost Russ, but we still have DK Metcalf. We still have Tyler Lockett. We got Noah Fant and Shelby Harris in that trade. We're still the same offense. We have a different captain. Same boat, different captain.
All right. Well, guess what? Trey, you the captain now, baby. Thank you so much. I'm going to holler at you next week, brother.
Yes, sir. You as well.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's transfer over to what I consider still to be the best division in all of football. And this is actually quite interesting because my Philadelphia Eagles are facing Couch Coach's Washington Commanders. And then the Monday Night Football match features Jake Malik's New York Giants against Megan Price's Dallas Cowboys.
Eric, that is your first place New York Football Giants. We're tied, but we're first place still. So I want you to know
but who did y'all play the first 2 weeks, Jake? Calm down.
Hey.
Calm down.
Hey,
Calm down.
Tennessee's
struggling. Tennessee is struggling, and y'all played the Panthers last week.
Just don't be upset when we beat you this week. That's all.
Okay.
Oh, I love this. This is awesome. All right, so listen, there's really no point in us just being on screen by ourselves because we're going up against each other. So, I mean, I'll go ladies first since it is the Monday night matchup. And you know what, Megan, you and Jake can have your fun and do what you do. So I'm going to let the two of you go at it. Me and Couch Coach are going to sit back because I want to see how this plays out.
Megan, ladies first, all you.
Okay. Well, as you guys know, we got the Monday Night Football primetime game. And despite what both of our teams kind of going through some woes, the Giants for about a decade, I expect a good matchup. It's divisional, so I expect a good matchup. I think one of the main key factors for Dallas to win is going to be defense. And luckily, our defense is looking pretty good. Micah Parsons had 2 sacks in the first 2 games. And against Cincinnati, he had 5 pressures and 4 tackles. Daniel Jones was sacked 3 times and had 9 QB hits. So your O-line kind of struggled a little bit, Jake. Also for Dallas, Dorrance Armstrong stood out. He had 2 sacks, 4 pressures, and 2 tackles. And then Dallas's pass rush also had 6 sacks and 9 QB hits. So I think defense is going to be huge for us. Yeah. Jake, you want to go ahead and kind of retort a little bit?
No, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with that. I think, look, both defenses have actually played pretty well. I mean, look, you played more difficult opponents, and I give you that. There's no doubt about that. But I think both defenses on the season have been pretty solid. The Giants had 2 sacks last week. I was very happy to see that. And they're still without our 2 best pass rushers. The real question is when those guys come back, being Ojulari and Kayvon Thibodeau, if they come back, what is the difference they're going to make? I'm hoping they come back sooner rather than later. I'd love – at the very least, Thibodeau to be back this week. He keeps saying he's ready. He's almost there. I just want to see him get on the field because he's a difference maker. That's going to be the biggest thing because both of our offenses don't look particularly amazing. With a backup quarterback for you, it's difficult. And let's just call it what it is. Daniel Jones basically is a backup quarterback. Right. Offenses don't look great. So it's going to be whose defense plays better. I give you guys the advantage, but then again, the Giants continue to pull out wins out of thin air. So
True. I do think home field is going to be an advantage for you guys. Yeah. So I definitely give a nod to that. And also I feel like the 1-2 punch with Tony Pollard and Zeke. If Zeke's not doing well, it seems like Pollard comes through. Like last week, Pollard did pretty well. And even though Trayvon Diggs didn't necessarily have any picks in the last couple of games, he played really well last week, so there wasn't quite as much criticism. AB, he was trash. Get him off my team. I maintain this all the time. There's a petition going around. It's on my page. Get him off my team.
Hey, at least you're honest about it.
Right. And then Saquon kind of cooled off last week for you guys. So wondering if he can kind of pick up the speed again. Our rush defense held Mixon last week to 57 yards. So I think that for us, like I said, defense, it's going to be a very defensive game. I think it's going to be a low scoring game. Now, we did hold Baker to 145 yards, and that sounds very familiar for you guys. Or you guys held them to 145 yards. Sorry. But also, Daniel Jones has not had 200 yards yet. So the offenses are going to look good, I think. And then the final difference maker for us and what's going to
I'm like waiting. I'm like, is she going? I'm like, I know she's trying to get her Dallas talk in. I'm like, are you done?
Sorry. Okay, the final difference maker is going to be our kicker. That's right, Brett Maher. He had 8 points last week. That's going to be that difference maker. Who's y'all's kicker?
Graham Gano, and he had all our points last week.
Okay.
Not literally speaking, but
right.
we scored 19 points. We threw for we had one touchdown.
Right, that's right.
One passing touchdown. So he scored basically all the points. All
right.
So our offenses just mirror each other basically.
We're moving on from the two of you. Let's get to the better game in our division, which is the 2-0 Philadelphia Eagles going up against our former quarterback Carson Wentz and the Washington Commanders. Couch Coach, I know you've been chomping at the bit. I just have one question before we get started. Did y'all fix, the barricade so that we don't have anybody falling over this time at the end of the game and almost injuring my quarterback?
Yes, I think we have. I think I've checked with Brown's crew, and I think you're all set. So when you Eagles guys want to lean in, we got you safe. I think the zip ties. I think we secured it more than just zip ties this time. So you should be straight. But
brother, talk to me about this matchup, man, because this is truly it's Carson Wentz versus Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham and my whole defense. That at one point in time we were all together and won ourselves a championship. But I'll let you go ahead start since you're the home team.
Yeah, so like you said, this is obviously somewhat of a revenge game for Carson Wentz. Eric, your trash is now my treasure in Carson Wentz. So we got him at this point. The biggest concern for me has got to be our defense. I think this is a simple fact of considering the fact that we've given up 404 yards in these on average, not in 2 games, but in 2 games, the average is 400 yards of total offense, and then 6.6 yards per play, which you got playmakers on multiple sides for the Eagles. You got a 2-head running attack, also with your wide receivers as well. So, it's
3.
Well,
it's 3.
Correct.
I'm sorry. I'm throwing Gainwell in that conversation, and we could go 4 deep. Because if Jalen gets out and starts running, he's my quarterback all day long, but he can use them legs.
And as you can tell, even with us, sometimes the 3rd string, 4th string, option on other teams have beaten us as well. So that's one of the things. And I think the biggest key for I'm not Dallas, but for Washington is essentially eliminate the big plays. And I think if we can eliminate those big plays and actually get somewhat of a lead on you guys and lead and have this tempo, we have a great chance to win this game. I think one of the key things is our wide receiver core. I think obviously big play Slay, I acknowledge that. But in the same token, I think he could potentially bottle Terry up. But so now this is going to be a game where you look at Curtis Samuel will probably pick up the load. Maybe Jahan Dotson once again scores. So I look at that's kind of one of the key matches I think that we can really kind of take advantage of.
When I look at this matchup, here's the name that you didn't mention that always seems to be a proverbial thorn in our side, and that's your tight end, Logan Thomas. He's the guy who I'm paying attention to. If I'm our defense, I'm looking at my defense and I'm saying, I understand McLaurin's going to get his. I understand that Antonio Gibson's going to get his, and Dotson's going to try and, weave his way in and out. But Logan Thomas, I think sometimes our defense neglects, because we have a guy on our side in Dallas Goedert who matches up tight end. That just seems to have those two guys kind of neutralize each other, because defenses sometimes play to them, but sometimes y'all forget about them. But now with the addition of A.J. Brown and we got Devontae Smith, like I said, we've got the 3-headed running back committee in Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, and Kenneth Gainwell. We have the weapons. So what I've been preaching all season long is it's been about Jalen. What can Jalen do? And listen, in 2 weeks, Jalen, these are his numbers: 44 for 63, 576, 1 touchdown, 1 interception with a 97 passer rating. I'm sorry. That was just what he did on Monday night. Okay? So, I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, as I say, when I play the Giants or when we play Dallas, it is a divisional game. You throw the rule book, the playbook, and everything else out the window because the unexpected becomes the probability becomes the possibility. And as much as I know Carson's going to want to go out there and, beat us, I think he's going to try and do too much. If he can maintain focused, then it's going to be a game regardless. But these two games, we're all watching because it separates our seeds and where we're going. Much love to the three of you so much. Thank y'all for being on Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel Season 3. I will see all of y'all next week where Jake and I will still be undefeated. Everyone have a good night. Thank y'all very much.
I like the optimism.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me get my man in here. He is the AFC East. He is atop the AFC East, but he has a tall task coming this Sunday. Luckily for him, it's going to be in the 305. This is our man, Sideline Sports own Mr. Jon Shearer is in the building. Miami versus Buffalo, John. Talk to me, brother.
I'm ready, man. We just took out the Ravens, took out the Patriots before that. Patriots made the playoffs. The Ravens should have made the playoffs if not for the injuries. Now we play the Bills. Then we go to Cincy and play them on Thursday Night Football. You're giving us nothing but a difficult schedule, but we keep beating that schedule. You go into Baltimore and you have a historic performance. And now you get the Bills coming down to Miami. And yes, historically, Josh Allen is 7-1 versus us. But I'm cautiously optimistic with this one because how are you really going to cover the two guys that lead the league in receiving yards? Waddle's third and Hill is first. And Tua leads the league in passing yards and passing touchdowns. So good luck stopping that offense. Xavier Howard has to step up. The defense, I'll be honest, the defense wasn't very good against the Ravens. We all saw that. They have to be better against the Bills. If that offensive line holds up, I have no doubt that the Dolphins can beat them. They can boat race them. That's how scary this offense is. As long as that defense holds up and the offensive line stays healthy, they can boat race them. You heard it here first. They can do it. It's possible. We saw what this offense is capable of, putting up, 28 points in the fourth quarter against the Baltimore Ravens in M&T? Eric, bring you back. Come on back. I just want to make sure we knew that.
Yo. Listen, John, you still got 15 seconds, brother. I was letting you do your thing.
It's like, it's like the Dolphins might not even need the fourth quarter to beat the Bills.
Okay,
I don't need
Steve,
the 15
that's when you
seconds,
took it one too far, John. You took it one too far.
Hey, I'll be ready. So I'll be ready when the Dolphins do it. You all better be ready because my voice, I won't stop talking.
We know you haven't stopped since you went 2-0 last week against Baltimore.
2-0. Thank you.
Anyhow, my brother, I got love for you. I'm gonna holler at you next week, brother. Thank you so much, Jon Shearer, Sideline Sports, Blue Hawks 13. Make sure you check him out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's keep it moving here on Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel. Let's transition over to the AFC and the NFC South. I got one representative from each talking about their team. My dude coming on for the first time on the Carousel. This is our man, Mr. Denzel Snipes in the building. What's going on, brother?
What's good, Big E? You doing all right, man?
I'm all right, baby. How are you?
Doing good. Feels good to finally be on the Carousel, man. I had a couple things come up, past couple of weeks, but I'm here, man. I'm here.
Man, no worries about that at all. Brother, talk to me about your team, man. You're in the Midway. You play in Chicago. Talk to me about this matchup this week.
Well, I don't expect it to be an offensive shootout. I expect it to be a defensive shootout. We're in rugged Chicago. We both got young defenses and everything. Chicago's a little bit more experienced. One thing that I will say is that Mills is still showing promise. We do need to see a lot more from him, but also need to see a lot more from offensive coordinator Pep Hamilton. You look at Mills' stats for the year so far. He's 42 of 75. He threw for 417 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He hadn't thrown any interceptions. He's averaging 5.6 yards per attempt, and his passer rating is 80.8. So he's not bad, you know what I mean? And we all see it. Houston's defense, it's coming too. It's got 6 sacks, no INTs just yet. But again, a young defense. And Lovie Smith, I believe in him. Defensive coordinator by trade. I'm not going to go as far as saying I'm seeing the 06 Bears defense. But I see a young, hungry defense. Of course, Stingley's been out there making plays. I think the key to the game is going to be the front seven. Now, Fields' running ability does, scare me, as it should scare like other defensive coordinators and such. But I think if we can find a way to contain him and force Fields to win with his arm, that we have a chance. The biggest thing is we have to finish games. Okay, we got to finish games. The past 2 games, we've played 3 quarters of football. And to put it more in perspective, Houston's offense, weeks 1 through 2, 120 yards, no touchdowns or no points or anything. Houston's defense, 1 through 3, 9 points. In the fourth quarter, 27 points for 18 yards. We just got to learn how to finish. We got to learn how to close.
Okay. You are one of the few people that, man, when it comes to the Texans, I know you ride or die with them, much like I ride or die with my team. But
of course,
it's been painful the last couple of seasons. So I hope you get a turnaround. I'm not still sure where I'm siding this week, but you put up a very good argument. I might just pick your Texans. I don't know, but we'll find out later on this week. My brother, this man, I mean, truly, my man Denzel does it all. He does the gauntlet. He does Basket Bros. He does Confidential. When you talk about Sideline Sports, the name Denzel Snipes is definitely in that conversation. My brother, I'm going to holler at you next week. Thank you so much for being a part of the show, man.
Salute, man. Thanks for bringing me on. I'll see you in 7 days, brother.
All right. So I'm going to transition over to the NFC South because my good friend, who I rode with her this past week, her team did not do me well. But we're going to get Miss Jen Lewis in the building. Jen, how are you, first and foremost?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm a little upset with your team.
It's cool. Give it a couple more days.
We'll
be happier. We'll get better play calling.
Okay, I thought you could beat the Giants. I really did. I needed that because I didn't need Jake being 2-0. But you've got the Saints this week, and they're pissed off based on what happened last week with Tampa. So talk to me about your matchup, NFC South divisional matchup between your Carolina Panthers and the New Orleans Saints.
So honestly, I've done a lot of thinking about that fight. That fight is either going to change the mentality with the Saints, either in a good way or in a bad way. There's no in the middle. They're going to be carrying it over. They lost a game. They lost their winning streak against the Bucs just because Evans and Lattimore couldn't keep it together. That being said, at least both teams protect each other. I don't know how it's going to end up because on Thursday, as you know, Christian went on IR, but honestly, Christian's comment was, if I go use the restroom, I'm going to be put on IR. He's not wrong, but it was only for tightness in his ankle. That being said, Alvin is on, Kamara's on IR too. I don't remember why. He's probably off of it by now, but I know he was earlier in the week. So I think it's going to be more offensive. I'm not going to lie. I think the Saints D is probably more put together than our D right now. Our D has more talent to me. But honestly, the guys are going to be playing. My Panthers are going to be playing if they want to keep Matt Rule as their head coach or not. It's coming down to decision time. I've been hearing rumors that Tepper's told him he's got to get in or get out. And he's got to get in the win circle or he's out on Monday. And that alludes to a conspiracy theory I've been espousing for all summer. Thank you to my friend Sydney.
Wow. So this is do or die for Matt Rule. So either the boys show up and this man keeps to keep his job, or Monday morning there is going to be a new interim head coach for your Carolina Panthers.
And I already know who I would like the interim head coach to be.
Well, I'm sure you would, but let's see how it goes. Jen Lewis, like I said, 3 Chicks in the Pod. She does Pundit's Pundit. She's on Basket Bros. She does a lot with Sideline Sports. Jen, thank you so much. I'm going to see you next week.
Thank you. Bye.
See ya. Oh, there we go. Let me get my man Joe Carlino in the building. He was kind enough to take a few moments out of his day to talk to us about his Atlanta Falcons.
The Atlanta Falcons are coming off a close loss to the Los Angeles Rams in which they were not supposed to be in that game, but somehow managed to nearly come back from a 28-3 deficit. Where have we heard those numbers before? Now they're going up against the Seattle Seahawks, who just lost 27-7 to the San Francisco 49ers. The real question is, what kind of Atlanta offense are we going to see? Because Kyle Pitts has been a mystery. He has only 4 catches for 38 yards. Meanwhile, Drake London is putting a stamp on the Offensive Rookie of the Year through 2 games, granted. The defense also, they did not get any sacks on Matthew Stafford, but they did manage to get an interception on him. Actually 2, one from Casey Hayward, one from Michael Walker. So it remains to be seen how they will fare against Geno Smith and the Seahawks offense alongside Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Defensively, the Falcons don't have as much of a problem attacking the Seahawks defense as Seahawks will have against Atlanta's defense, but it does remain to be seen what we will be expecting for this game. I personally like Atlanta to cover the +2 spread, but anything is possible, especially with the fact that the Falcons are the ultimate enigma in the NFL.
There you have it. The ultimate enigma in the NFL, commonly known as the Atlanta Falcons. Just like I call the walking piece of mediocrity, the accident waiting to happen, that is the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, let's keep it moving here on Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel, and we're going to transition to the AFC and the NFC North. My man, Eddie B. Dub, talking about his Bears.
Well, everybody, got to start with last week. And, I said it would be a good game. And besides that second quarter, for the most part, it was. Now, I'm not going to get into a whole bunch of other things like, I don't know, that goal line play that was in shotgun for whatever reason, and the complete inability to stop the run, particularly in that second quarter. I'm not going to get into that. I knew the Packers would be better. I'm moving on from that. All right. It makes me sick to talk about. What I will say this week for the Houston Texans is head coach Lovie Smith is making his return to Chicago for the second time in his career, coaching a different team. Now, the last time he did this was 2014 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he lost. And then the next season, the Bears went to Tampa Bay, where he was still the head coach, and he lost. So currently he's 0-2 against the Bears, and I've seen people say that they have a legitimate chance to win this game, or at least they were preseason. And I got to tell you, I don't get that feeling at all. Sure, there's things that need to be fixed in the Bears offense. Justin Fields had the most time in the pocket on average across his 11 pass attempts last week, and he was pretty bad. Now, part of that's on the receivers. They got to get separation, something that did not happen at all last week, and I'm hopeful will happen this week. So if that happens and the run game continues, I mean, David Montgomery was a ghost week 1, and week 2, he killed it. So if all that gets sorted out, I'm predicting a Bears win by at least 10 points. Let's go.
Wow. He said a Bears victory by 10 points. Well, Eddie, we got the receipts, so when we see you next week, we're going to ask about that. But let me get to the Thursday night matchup. And I got my guy, one of the greatest sports debaters around, my man, Daniel Bacuetigo. Good evening, sir. Young man, I know you got a game coming up shortly, so let's get right to it. What is going to happen tonight between your Pittsburgh Steelers and your AFC North divisional opponent, the Cleveland Browns?
Well, tonight I just really want to see the offense moving, because the offense has been so bland this couple of games, the first 2 games of the season. Mitchell Trubisky and Matt Canada doesn't use the middle of the field at all. They've been throwing these check downs and third downs and flat routes. It's just been absurd. Why did they stop? Why did they keep on doing these stuff? Cause they have awesome targets to throw to. Deontay Johnson's one of the better receivers in the league. Chase Claypool, who's moved into the slot position, is an athletic workhorse. And our second round pick, George Pickens, he says he's getting open 90% of the time. I don't understand why Matt Canada loves to run these short routes and he doesn't trust Mitchell Trubisky. People say it's the offensive line. People say Najee Harris hasn't been good. People say they cannot block for Mitchell Trubisky enough. And in my opinion, the offensive line has looked better than people are saying. And it's because the offensive line has gotten better. We've gotten guys such as James Daniel from the Chicago Bears. And our guys, Chuck Okorafor, has been getting better recently. And Dan Moore has been gotten better recently as well. So we need this offense to keep on working because the defense will always be there. Minkah Fitzpatrick is an elite safety, one of the best, if not the best safety in the league, and he's making a Defensive Player of the Year case right here, right now, in the second week of the year. TJ Watt out for a couple weeks, gonna hurt our defense. But if the offense can just get something out in these next couple weeks with TJ Watt out, we can win games. And I hope tonight our offense does work out well.
Okay. All righty. Sir, you know I always got love for you, one of the great debaters in all of football, my brother. Thank you so much, Daniel. We will see you next week, man.
Thank you, Eric.
All right. We're going to head back to the NFC North because you know I got to close out the show tonight here on Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel with this man. This man is 1-1. And arguably, let's be honest, and I'll say it, this man's team could in fact be 2-0 right now. It was that close. It was that close. But Dom, my brother, Minnesota, we kind of put a beating on them for you. But now you're heading to their stadium, and you know that they're looking to get a little get back. So talk to me about your NFC North matchup between yourself and the Minnesota Vikings, sir.
Is it too early to flex the game to prime time? Because if that was the case, there's no way we'd lose. But currently, as we sit, the Lions are tied for second in the entire league in points for. However, let me see. The Bills have scored 72. Us and KC have scored 71. However, the Bills and KC both have a defensive touchdown, whereas we have just a safety. So scoring offense-wise, we're number one with 69 points. We also lead the NFL, the entire NFL in quarterback pressures with 48. Jeff Okudah finally looks like the real deal, what we hoped. I can't even say expected. Hoped he would be. I put on a show last week, 9 targets for 2 receptions, 17 yards. Amon-Ra right now is on another level. Amon-Ra St. Brown, the Sun God, AR-14. Call him what you will. NFC Offensive Player of the Week. He's already sitting by himself with an NFL record for consecutive games with 8 catches and a touchdown at 6. I believe that comes to an end this week because they're going to key in on him. So I expect DJ Chark, Josh Reynolds, maybe the ghost of Quintez Cephas to light it up. But unfortunately, I think we hold Minnesota to the 27 points that I would hope for, but we only score 24. So unfortunately, final score, Minnesota 27, Lions 24.
I disagree. Think
we're going to beat them?
I think you are, because momentum is a huge factor. And it only takes one. You know, you need that first domino to fall before the others do more of the same. So I really feel like there is a true shot.
Can we flex the game to prime time?
I wish we could. I wish we could, Dom. I would be happy trading the Cowboys-Dallas game. I mean, the Cowboys-Giants game on Monday night for your game to be Monday Night Football. Believe me, I would much rather have that, but it is what it is. But my brother, Dom, much love to you. Always on the gauntlet. Basket Bros, a part of the Sideline Sports Network family, brother. I'm going to holler at you. See you next week, sir. See you. All right, you know what? I want to jump back really quick to the AFC South because I want to talk to our Jaguar menace. I got to talk to you. What's going on? How are you?
What's going on, man? What's going on? We feeling good out here in Jacksonville.
I know you are, but now you heading to SoFi to face the Chargers. Talk to me about this matchup.
Yeah, we are, man. We are on our way to face the Los Angeles Chargers. We do not generally do good on the West Coast. However, Doug Peterson has a plan and he has an approach for that, and I personally think that it might be successful. I have no reason to doubt him because he's actually been pretty successful since he's been here. Just looking at the players alone and how they speak, you can tell that they're kind of the walk is different, the talk is different, but the matchup is definitely going to be tough. I personally think this is going to be a defensive game. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is going to be able to come out of this one clean with 0 turnovers. And that's credit to that Chargers defense. Derwin James, JC Jackson, man, they got some dogs over there. I will say this though, they don't do too well against the run between the tackles, and that is something we do pretty well. So we will get a heavy dose of James Robinson during this game, and I think that's gonna be a determining factor with setting up the play action and getting Trevor out for the boot and things like that. That Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack is going to be a tough thing for us. I personally have the Jaguars winning the game 24-21. I just think that we are a lot better put together team, and it's going to show. I think it'll show this game, and this is a test for us, man. This is a test. This is definitely going to be a test to see if the Jaguars and what they put on the field last week. Make sure it ain't a fluke, So I'm excited. I think we can pull it out.
I have no doubt, only because I got love for Dougie P, and he knows how to play defenses. That man is very mindful when it comes to his team. I just need to see more of your wide receiver that you gave so much money to in Christian Kirk, and we started to see a little bit of it against the Colts. I need to see more from that young man. That's just my opinion.
Hey, I feel you on that. I will say this though, he is top 5 right now.
True.
He's top 2 in the slot, top 5. And he's been very productive. And I think he gets that contract. I think he will hit those incentives, man. It's looking like that. So I agree with you though. I want to see more. I want it to continue because it's doing pretty good for us. So I hope that this is like something permanent with the wide receiver position.
I feel you on that one. Jaguar Menace, drive safe. We will definitely talk to you next week. Much love. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
All right, let me get my man, Baltimore Ravens. This is my guy, JJ.
What's up, man?
What's up, baby boy? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm on my vacation starting tonight, so I'm feeling real good.
Hey, we all need that mental health, man. Hey, enjoy your time off. But before you get out of here, man, I need to know what happened, man. What your defense? Because I put nothing on Lamar. Let me be very clear about that. I put nothing on Lamar. I put nothing on Mark Andrew. But your defense, man, I understand it's Tyreek Hill and it's Waddle, but now you got the Patriots. So talk to me, man.
First and foremost, we know Jon Shearer don't know what he's talking about when he said that their blitz was going to knock out Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson beat that blitz with a 79-yard touchdown to Rashad Bateman with the right read. They switched out. They tried to go back into it. He busts out for a 79-yard touchdown. So it's safe to say, John, you don't know what you talk about when it comes to Lamar Jackson. So we'll leave that there. Now, in terms of what happened and what we hope to happen, not happen against the Patriots, it's defensive lapses and a miscommunication. And most importantly, I think is more pressing, the pass rush was gassed. All we had was Odafe Oweh and Justin Houston, and they played literally the whole game. So they were tired because our other guys are out. Stephen Means went out for the rest of the season. Dalen Lays has been on IR. So is David Ojabo. So the defensive lapses in terms of like the miscommunication in the back with Kyle Hamilton and a rookie, Jalen Amar Davis, who came from Alabama. He was on those last 2 series when Marlon Humphrey went out with a groin injury. So as much as it stings, as much as it bothers me that we lost this game, I am very confident the Ravens will turn it around because with time, with understanding the defense, that defensive miscommunication won't happen again. And typically, to be honest with you, speed kills the Ravens regardless. We have been doing a good job on Tyreek Hill until that fourth quarter, but I'm not worried. Now, in terms of the Patriots, we just got to stay the course. The offense moves freely. J.K. Dobbins was a full participant, so was Ronnie Stanley, so was Marcus Peters. So that run game, if it comes back, it'll be able to neutralize the clock and, while we get a lead and try to keep it and close out games, which is what we used to do in the MVP year 2019 and 2020. So I feel us winning the game. I got us winning 28-14 with a pick, again, from Marcus Williams.
Ooh, 28-14 against Bill Belichick. That's going to be very interesting, sir. I'm paying attention to that game. JJ, enjoy your vacation, my brother. I'm going to holler at you next week. Be safe, my brother. Have fun.
You as man. Take care, man. I'll see y'all later.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us. Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel, Season 3, Week 3. Your man, Eric Wilson. Hey, we will talk to y'all next week. Either you on Are you off?